All right, well, we are kicking this thing off. I want to thank you guys for coming. Most of you that are on this call are people that I already know, but if I haven't met you yet, my name is James Adair. I'm a lender at Neo Home Loans here in Portland, and I wanted to bring some valuable content to my real estate community. And the story is that me and my team here in Portland have been trying to create a little bit of a different kind of value proposition for the mortgage conversation and mortgage process for many years, decades. And we were mirroring a lot of what we were doing off of a producer out of California named Ryan Grant, who's then started his own company. And we just thought, like, let's join forces with this guy who's been kind of leading the way for us for many years. And so we are super thrilled to be in business with Ryan. He's a in-demand speaker and thought leader in the business. And the entire thrust of Neo Home Loans is to try to change the mortgage industry and really chart a course for the future. And I know that a lot of us in the last 10 months have felt a major shift in how business feels and how, like, the energy level it takes to win deals and put deals together and keep our pipeline going. The actual market is doing good, but there are much fewer buyers and even fewer sellers. So, like, the transaction flow has really come down to a very disturbing low level. And Ryan has put this presentation on before. I've seen it a few months ago, and it's really about a different mindset that we have to have to meet this moment. I don't think what I've just described is going to be changing anytime soon in a meaningful way. I think it'll loosen up maybe in 6 months or a year or so, but not like it was before. I think we're in a little bit of a different situation here. So Ryan's going to share with us what he thinks the real estate professional of the future is going to require from a mindset, how to understand what an opportunity looks like now moving forward, which isn't what it used to look like. So without further ado, I'm going to let Ryan take control here. So let me know if you need anything as far as like slides or whatever. But and if you guys want to raise your hand or be interactive, go ahead and throw questions in the Q&A. We'll be glad to make this like a conversation. So thanks so much for coming. And
yeah. Well, team, thank you all for being here. And thank you just for investing this short amount of time, not only in your business, but in the communities you serve, because I really believe that we can make a pretty substantial impact. James mentioned we're trying to change the mortgage industry. And in reality, we're trying to change the entire dynamic of how, the average consumer looks at their real estate and mortgage professionals as a team. And I'll kind of share my screen and walk you through the presentation here as we go. And then James, if you could just kind of monitor the chat, that would be helpful here.
Will do.
So just go into presenter mode real fast. Okay, can you see this, James?
Yeah, looks good. Looks good.
Cool. All right, so team, just some background on kind of where this came from. I believe that for a very long time, the real estate and mortgage industry has been a lot, in large part about how hard we can work, how well we can market ourselves, how influential we can be, how we can leverage our personalities, how we can get people to like and want to use us. But at the end of the day, I believe that we're all selling the same product. And I should probably start with a little disclaimer in that as I'm talking about this, some people may want to just log off. Right? You may want to just be like, oh, we don't need to change. We've been successful. We've been doing fine. It's just a blip in the market. We just need to keep doing what we've always done. And I really want to caution you against that way of thinking, right? Because I think if we continue to do what we've always done, we're going to lose more and more ground for our businesses personally. And we're going to, ultimately not serve the client in the way that they really need, right? Because I think we're giving people what they want, which is housing, right? Helping them buy and sell homes, and we're giving them mortgages. But what they really need is very different. Right? What they need is not just to own a home. They need somebody and a team of people who are proactively committed to helping them become a successful homeowner over time. And the biggest thing that we need right now is we need to change the dynamic of what the consumer even expects from us, right? Just from the initial idea of homeownership. So as I walk you through this today, I'm just going to ask you to stay curious and just wonder, like, what if he's right? Right? Just keep asking yourself that, because I'm going to say some things that might challenge you, that might, make you feel like it's accusatory, but that's not the case. And the reason I know that is because I went through this personally. When I built my business all the way up until 2018, it was really just by working hard, showing up, getting people to like and trust me, and all the things that we kind of do in the real estate mortgage space. And I believe that all I had to do was just more of that, because I got to be one of the top 25 lenders in the country, number one in our market, number one in client satisfaction across the country. And I figured, okay, we have it solved. But there was three things that stood out to me that really made a sincere belief in me that we needed to change. The first was that if any of you would have known me in 2018 and asked me what I did for a living, I would have said, well, I'm in the mortgage business. And I would have said it just like that, right? Because I wasn't proud of the fact that I sold more debt than other people, right? And that's what I was being praised for. I didn't feel inspiration from that. I didn't feel the fulfillment in that level of work. Second was I started losing clients to cheaper options. And I realized that, customer service and all the things that we did were very important to a point. But at some point, the consumer is just going to see all of us as a commodity, as a transactional commodity, unless we can really, show our value and be different. And there were some things that happened that made me realize that in a very big way. But the last thing that happened is we had a client who, she calls me in 2018. We helped her and her family buy a home in 2017. And she says, Ryan, we have to sell our house. I was like, well, why? What's going on? We just helped you buy it last year. Market's going straight up. Everything's going well. I mean, you're going to get capital gains and all this stuff. Like, you don't need to do that. She says, well, my husband got in a car accident and passed away, and we can't afford the house anymore. And it was a really challenging moment for me. Because I just felt I was gutted by the news. And B, because I said, well, look, life insurance is going to kick in or likely pay off the mortgage and help you with income. And you can probably guess where this is going, right? But they didn't have life insurance. And you couldn't tell me that wasn't my fault, right? Because I know about life insurance. I had it. I'm a father. I'm a husband. My parents taught me about it enough to at least give me the knowledge to know that it was important. But everyone tried to tell me it wasn't my fault. Like, Ryan, you're a loan officer. And everyone tried to tell the realtor it wasn't their fault, right? You're just a realtor. That's not your responsibility. And I don't believe that, right? I believe that if our goal in this business is to really help people, we can't just complete the transactions that they already want and need, and then just hope that they figure out how to become a successful homeowner after that, right? The change that I'm going to challenge you to make today, and the shift in dynamic, is that we want our clients to depend on us in every aspect of real estate or finance for 30 plus years, right? To where we become a true proactive advisor for them. And as soon as all that happened in 2018, I said, look, I'm not going to be the mortgage professional who is more expensive. And, I want to help my realtor partners not just be more expensive without a tangible difference, right? Without me being able to say, I'm going to make you more generationally wealthy over time than anybody else you could choose to work with. And if we can make this pivot, and I know we can, because we've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years, the consumer will start to demand that from their real estate mortgage professionals, right? Because most people buy real estate to really enhance their wealth, right? It's also, safety and security and a lot of other things, but we don't actually help them become wealthy. We just give them the asset and the debt and say, figure it out, right? But we can change that, and the consumer will become wealthy, not because they have money, but because they have information, and we can become the team that gives them that information on a proactive basis. So I'll walk you through kind of what happened. This is when the light bulb went off for me, was that I said, we can completely redefine what it means to be a real estate professional, and our clients will come to expect so much more from the people they work with, right? It's not just going to be about customer service and negotiating and marketing and speed and communication and answering the phone 24/7 and doing anything for them, right? Like people should not choose to work with you for those reasons. Now, all those reasons are important to your business, but I would actually, ask you, audit your clients, right? Go back and ask your last 10 clients you worked with, hey, there's 1.4 million realtors. Why did you choose me? Right? We ask every client that at closing, right? There's 400,000 loan officers in the country. Why did you pick James? And if they say, because you had good customer service, you had good reviews, you were referred by a realtor, you had the best interest rate, you committed to be the fastest. Those things are all nice, but they're all the wrong reasons why somebody should choose you, right? What we look for when a transaction closes is we want a client to say, we chose to work with you, Ryan or James or Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, because you're the only person who committed to helping us long-term, who helped us realize, the trials and tribulations we're going to face over the next 30 years after owning this home. And you've committed to helping us grow our generational wealth in ways that nobody else even talked about. And it was clear that you didn't just want to sell us a home or help, sell a house or, sell us a mortgage, that you were really invested in our long-term growth. That's what we look for, right? And that's what we're striving to do here. And that's what I'm going to try and show you here today. So one of my favorite quotes is from Darwin. And Darwin says, it's not the strongest species that survive. It's not the smartest species that survive. It's the species that are most adaptive to change. And I don't know about you guys, but there's been some significant changes in the market in the last, 12 to 24 months. And everybody wants to go back to the easy times. And now that it's hard, people go, you know what, let's just get back to the basics, right? Make more calls, do this, do that. I'm here to tell you, if you do that, you're going to be the individual on the far left of this slide, right? But if you make the change that we're going to talk about today, you'll be on the far right, because the market doesn't need more of what we used to do, right? It needs more of what we should do for our clients. So I'm going to unpack that with you here. The precursor I have to give to this is that it's not going to be easy, right? It's going to be challenging. And I use this analogy from horses to cars with the mortgage industry, because, in 1907, if you would, Henry Ford said, if you would have asked any of my clients what they wanted, they would have just said faster horses, right? Because if cars don't exist, you don't ask for anything but a better version of what you already have. And this is the mortgage and real estate industry today, right? When people say, what do you want, create your perfect realtor, perfect lender, they would say, I want it cheaper, I want it faster, I want to click a button, because they don't know that there's an alternative. But once we show them this alternative, it will start to shift. And we are living, breathing examples of it. Right? Like the reason why we're one of the fastest growing mortgage companies in the country and why our realtor partners are some of the fastest growing realtors is because we're selling a different product. Right? We're telling a different story. We're offering a car when everyone else is riding horses. Now, the problem with that is that it takes time. Now, we've had people that started doing this work with us and they go, well, the client didn't want that. Well, it took 25 years for there to be more cars on the road than horses, right? Here's a car that comes out that is hands down better than a horse, but people just didn't trust it. They weren't aware of it. They didn't know about it. But when people start to realize that real estate professionals and mortgage professionals actually do so much more than what they ever used to do, right? And that the commitment that they make is so much greater than anybody's ever made for them, they're going to start to demand cars over horses, if you understand that analogy. So I'm going to show you this, and then we'll get into the kind of the meat and potatoes of how to do this. Right now, as the average version of ourselves, we compete in an existing market space, right? And it's not a lot, right? It's basically us selling the same product as everyone else, right? We spell rate, speed, service, closing on time, negotiating, marketing, all the things that we sell as real estate and mortgage professionals. But now we can create an uncontested market space. If you guys have ever read the book Blue Ocean Strategy, it shows you what you can do, how you can really get away from the pack in the same industry. And this is exactly how we can do it. Next is, most people are just trying to beat their competition right now, right? Outwork them, out hustle them, out market them, out business them. When in reality, if you make this shift, you can just make them irrelevant, right? Because you can say, oh, well, I think you're comparing apples to oranges with this realtor versus this realtor, or this lender versus this lender, right? Because they do X, we do Y. And Y is way more valuable to that consumer than X is. They just don't know it yet, right? So you can create some irrelevancy there. And what we're doing, and this is not a secret, we want to take all the realtors and lenders and divide them into two camps. You either have to be the cheapest, right, and just be the absolute lowest price and cost and figure out that business model, which is hard, but there is a business model there. Or you're going to have to be the most valuable, not the best customer service, not rate, speed, marketing, all that stuff. Like there's value in those, but the real value is how you can show someone how you can enhance their generational wealth over time with your proactive nature. Right. And that's the irrelevancy part of it. And then what I'm going to show you, immediately next is right now we're all fighting over the existing share of the market, which as we I'm sure know, is not a lot. But what we can do, and what my commitment is over the next 15 to 20 minutes, is to help you create and capture new demand. Like you're going to be able to, when you leave this call, you're going to be able to create new demand. You'll be able to create listings. You'll be able to create, home buyers. And that's something that we're just not doing as an industry, right? We're just fighting over what's already going to happen. So let me show you what I believe the real estate professional of the future should be doing today. First is understanding what a true lead is, right? We really need to know, okay, what is a lead? And I believe that we're getting it wrong. And look, the real estate professional just inherently is typically going to be, what one of my business partners calls the tip of the spear, right? You guys are the ones having a lot of initial conversations with people, right? You talk to people at open houses, you talk to people, who are looking at, stuff online, you are getting referrals and just, you're talking to a lot of prospective homeowners and current homeowners. But I believe that unfortunately, most real estate agents and absolutely most mortgage professionals are miscalculating what a lead is. And I hope you understand that a lead is anybody with a heartbeat who's roughly 25 years or older, right? Who can be in that demographic. So first thing here we have to understand is currently today we're selling products people don't want, right? Only 16% of America thinks it's a good time to buy a home. Right? You can literally go online and you can type what percentage of people think it's a good time to buy a home, or is it a good time to buy a home? And it is a dark place to go on the internet. And we wonder why, and even though there is a ton of buyer demand, right? Like people that own homes still need to likely sell those to go buy a new home. So we're not going to unlock this, problem that we have with sellers thinking it's a seller's market and buyers thinking it's a buyer's market unless we get really tactical. Next is we're selling products people don't understand. So even for the 16% of people do want to buy a home, right? Most of them plan to spend on average $269,000. Right? When the average home in America is $388,000, but they believe they're going to buy it for a third or less than a third of that price. And it's just because it's a misunderstanding, right? They don't understand demographic movements. They don't understand the supply and demand challenges, right? They don't understand fluctuating interest rates. Again, 61% of Americans said that rates have never been this high before, right? Because look, you haven't seen rates this high since 2006, 2007. And even then they didn't get this high, right? You have to go back to like 2002, but on average, rates have averaged 7.75% over the last 30 years. Again, people have a recency bias. And nearly 30 million Americans plan to buy a home in 2023. Only 6 million people got to buy a home in 2021 when 70% of them wanted to. Right? Like, and this is where what we do today is going to be incredibly important. And team, I hope what you take away from this is it's great if you do this for yourself and for your business and for your income and for your livelihood. It is. But I think we have a bigger calling. I think we have the necessity to do this for the communities and the people that we know, right? And the people that we want to really help. And this is where we have to give really bold, sound advice. So let me walk you through the 4 types of leads. First lead is someone says, oh, I kind of want to buy a house. I'm not sure. I'm not ready. I don't know. I don't know if it's the right time. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I should. I'm sure, I can't see you all, but if I asked you to raise your hand, every one of you would raise your hand and tell me you've had that conversation multiple times in the last 30 days. And I was, I'm out here in Santa Barbara. I just I spoke at a conference yesterday, and I asked, the the crowd, like who here, who here has that? Everyone raised their hand. I said, well, what do you do? I asked a couple people and they go, well, we just follow up with them and, send them emails and send them information and, let them know we'll be here for them when they're ready. And that is inappropriate because our job is not to be there when someone's ready. Like you just saw that information I showed you. Who the hell is going to be ready to buy a home, right? Like without the right process. So I'm going to show you what that process looks like. But, most people are mismanaging that type of lead, right? And they're just hoping they'll be around when that person, is ready. Next is someone who's ready and pre-approved. I say that's mismanaged 50% of the time by real estate professionals. And I'll unpack why that is. And then you have the people that engaged initially, they wanted to, maybe they were looking at homes, maybe you had a listing appointment, but then they decided it's not the right time, right? Maybe they went in the internet and it got super dark and they decided not to. But again, that's being mismanaged probably 90% of the time. And this one, when people just say, oh, you say you're a realtor, you're talking about the market, and they go, oh no, I'm not interested. I'm not planning on buying and selling anything time soon, but thank you. That's mismanaged 100% of the time, right? Because I was at an open house when I just started my career. I remember this lady came in and she just walks through the house and the agent goes, oh, can I help you with anything? She goes, oh no, I'm just here to look. I'm not planning on buying or selling. I just kind of wanted to see the house. And the agent says, oh, okay, no problem. Take a look around. Let me know if you have any questions. And it like hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If someone doesn't want to buy our product, right, which is a home or sell a home, well, then we have nothing to offer them. And that's wrong because we have so much to offer them, right? But why would someone give you their information if all they believe you can do for them is help them buy or sell a home? And as agents and as mortgage professionals, that has to change, right? And I'm excited to show you how to do that today. So first type of lead here. How do you get to engage with a client that says, I'm not ready yet? Right? Like, what do you do? And if your answer is, well, we just keep following up, like most agents that we speak with, that's wrong, right? Because like if James is the client and James says, oh, I'm not ready, blah, blah, blah. My response as the real estate professional should be, James, I think it's important that you understand my job is not to help you, buy or sell a home, right? Like that's something that I can and will do if it's appropriate for you. But it sounds like you're not sure, or you just don't have all the information necessary to just really make a confident decision. Is that safe to say? And almost everybody's going to be like, well, yeah, I just, it seems like rates are high. It seems like this, and I've read that. And my response as the real estate professional would be, James, I don't actually care if you buy or sell a home. Right? What I care about is that you make a really sound, educated decision with all the information and education necessary. What I would encourage you to do is just let's meet with our financing team. Right? They're not going to run your credit. They're not going to ask you for documents. They're not going to try and pre-approve you for a mortgage. But what they're going to do is they're going to help you understand, your unique financial situation. We're going to help you understand what's going on in the housing market. And by the end of this, you'll either confidently decide it's the right time to buy or sell, or you'll confidently decide it's not, and we'll have a plan and a strategy and a timeline. But either way, you're going to be confident and you're not going to be sitting in a state of wonderment. And look, I've gone through this personally myself with my family, and it's helped tremendously. And I've also, have all of my clients go through this process, even people that say I'm ready today and people that say I'm not sure even how to start. So would you be open to just chatting for 30 minutes with them and then they can give you the information necessary? Because if you become confident in either of those directions, that's really if I've done my job. And that is how you take someone from I'm not sure, I'm not ready to being open to hearing, because we remove all the sales, right? Like no one's going to press you. I don't actually care if you do something, but I do care if you just sit in a state of wonderment. So first thing is you have to actually believe that, right? You can't, you have to experience it first. So I would encourage you, all of you, to go through our process. And I'll show you what that process looks like. Like spend time with James personally and just go through it. Or even better, when you have clients, right, that are, I'm not sure, I'm not ready, use that script, get them to James, and then watch how James handles that, right? Because we can take someone from I'm not sure to I can't wait in an hour, right? We just have to be intentional about it, right? You need to make sure you have the scripting, right? Because if you have to know what to say, but the most important thing is it's not what you say, it's how you say it. People don't buy your information. They buy the passion behind the information in which it rides on. Right. And if you go look, like, I can't tell you how important this is. And I'll show you kind of why here in the next slide. The ready and pre-approved client is everyone's favorite client, right? Every realtor is like, oh, we got someone who's ready, they're pre-approved, great, let's go. Now, if this was a dialogue, I would ask the question, like, do people know why or what's wrong with this? And I'm sure all of you had clients who had a pre-approval letter who didn't buy a home, right? Or a client who has a pre-approval letter but keeps lowballing properties and trying to find deals and, is afraid to really go after a home. And that's because, most clients who are ready and pre-approved get that pre-approval done in a very inappropriate way, right? No joke. You can go online right now in 8 minutes and get a pre-approval letter with almost any lender, right? You can call somebody and in less than 10 minutes, you give them your social security number, your income, your assets, they're gonna get you a pre-approval letter immediately. Now, problem with that is that means that someone can buy a home. But there's a difference between knowing you can and believing you should. And then the step that takes it to the next level, like the ultimate level, is someone who believes deep down that they actually must buy a home. Let me walk you through what that looks like. And this is where I would encourage you all to go through this yourself and go through it with James, is that one, someone has to have a deep understanding of the housing market. So in our buyer consultations, we go over exactly what's happening, demographic trends, rent versus zone analyses, long-term rent increases, cost of waiting analysis. We, show them what is happening from a, supply and demand perspective, inventory, and get them to realize, okay, like all the stuff I'm seeing about the housing market is wrong. Like just the article that came out the other day, home prices are going up. Like we saw home prices kind of go down for a couple months, but they never actually did anything that, most people were saying the housing market would do. Right. And now there's multiple offers again and so on and so forth. So people have to understand the housing market is not going to hurt them. Right. That's one hurdle. Jump over it. Great. Next hurdle. Right. We have to show them their personal economy versus the national economy, because all they read is national news and they don't even read the news. They just read the headlines, and the headlines are fear attention grabbers. Right. And then that's the dark part of the internet I was talking about. But when we show them, hey, look, don't worry about the national economy. Don't worry about the local economy. We just need your economy. Like, should you buy a home has more to do with your unique financial situation than it does, anything that you're going to read. So if we can go through this consultation with our financing team, they'll unpack that with you and really tell you, like, is it a good time? Is it not? What can we do? When should we do it? Next is I need to have a competitive advantage, right? Because multiple offer situations, most people are like, homes listed at 400,000. It's bid up to 450 and everyone's like, no, I'm not paying that. That's crazy. Well, the home might have been worth 450 to begin with. They just had a, start low, challenge. They said, look, we're gonna start low and see how high we can get this thing. But the consumer needs to know that, look, you can look like cash, you can close in 15 days, you can go with no contingencies, and you don't have to be the highest price. We can just be the best structured, right? Like we're really gonna have an advantage against the rest of the marketplace. And that gives people confidence and motivation to go into that fight. And this is the biggest one. You might not think it, but I promise you it is that most people are afraid of the impending doom of dealing with a massive asset, right, that costs a lot of money on upkeep, maintenance, and all that stuff, and a massive liability that they're just worried about. And they don't want to take that on their shoulders alone. And that's what we're doing today, right? You guys sell them the biggest asset they have. We sell them the biggest debt they have. And we both just say, good luck, Joe. Hope you figure it out. And we're going to market to you, right? So you don't forget about us. And when you want to buy, sell, or finance a home again, please call us, but you're on your own. And that's why people aren't taking that step. As soon as we can show them, hey, I'm not sure if you're aware, but if you thought we were valuable for the last 30 days, you're going to be blown away with our commitment to help you become more generationally wealthy over the next 30 plus years. Right? And you're going to see more value in that than you ever would have anything leading up to this point. And then people feel comfortable, right? Because wealthy people aren't wealthy because they have money. They're wealthy because they have information and they have a team of people supporting them in their decision making. And that's what we should be, right? That's what we should be as real estate mortgage professionals. And the advice that we have to give people from, oh, I'm already pre-approved. Yeah, I know I can buy a home. Okay, well, has anyone told you if you should buy a home? Not really. All right, well, let's go through that. But most importantly is, Mr. Smith, do you believe why, like, do you understand why I think that you actually must buy a home? It's not a can or a should situation. And every client's going to say no. Like, why must I buy a home? Like, and you have to risk sounding pushy without being pushy. Because again, we're not telling people they have to buy a house if they don't have to buy a home. But most people do, because if you look at that article that came out that showed that by 2030, 40% of all single family homes in America will be owned by institutional investors, by Wall Street. People don't understand their competition anymore, right? Competition for housing is not your neighbor. It's not people in your community. It's people with billions of dollars that want to buy these assets, knowing that the population is going to be way bigger than the supply of homes available. And if they don't, they're going to be a constant renter, and rent is going to go through the roof, and they're going to have to dislocate their family from where they want to live to where they can live, where they can afford to live. And if we don't step in and give really good proactive advice, that's going to be the future for clients that we're supposed to be serving or helping. So this is where we have to give really courageous advice, right? And do it in a way where the client doesn't seem like we're just trying to push them to buy a home, but doing it in a way where they can really feel our sincerity. So this is if you look at your clients, like, you may want to ask them, like, hey, I know you can buy a home, but like, do you believe you should? And like, do you understand why I think you must? And most people are going to say no. And that's because the lender didn't take them through that process. They just, here's an app, give me your docs, here's your pre-approval letter. That does more harm than good. And that's why the market is slower than it should be today. Next is, your client told you, hey, after thinking about it, it's not the right time, just not quite ready, we're going to wait. I asked the audience the same thing. What do you do? And they say, well, we just follow up with them. Okay, no problem. We don't want to be pushy, right? We don't want to seem like we're desperate. Well, look, if the sincere answer, like if your genuine answer is, Mr. Smith, I completely understand, it's a interesting time out there. Again, I don't care if you sell this house. I don't care if you buy a home. I just care that you're making the best decision for you and your family based on having a comprehensive analysis of the situation. And our financing team, and I apologize I haven't done this sooner, but our financing team, I believe, will help you with that, right? And what we need to do here is create a plan, a strategy, and a timeline. Because it's not a matter of if you're going to sell your home, right? It's just a matter of, should you sell your home? When should you sell your home? Does it make sense to sell your home? And we haven't really gone through that, right? I've really just engaged with you under the assumption that you had that information. I would recommend meeting with our team, and then we'll develop a plan, strategy, and a timeline. Same thing for buyers. And team, what we'll do here is, again, selfishly, from your business perspective, you're just stacking firewood, right? Like, your database should be full of future transactions. Because I ask this question to everybody. I say, look, if your past client calls you and says that they want to buy, sell, or finance a home, raise your hand if it's a good idea. And everyone's like, or if that's a good thing, and everyone raises their hand. And I say, well, that's not a good thing. And everyone looks confused. Like, really? If our past client calls us, that means we're getting retention business. Our clients liked our services last time, that want to use us again. And look, that's all great. But at that point, you're just going to fulfill an order, right? They've already made the decision. They've already thought about it. They've done all the work to come to that place. And now they can choose anybody. It's like if you go to a pharmacy to pick up your prescription, do you really believe that the pharmacist helped you, or did they just fulfill an order? Right? And that's what we're doing as real estate mortgage professionals. But if we do what I'm showing you here, we can be so proactively engaged with our clients' lives that we help them decide when they should buy, sell, or finance a home. We help them set the goal. We help them with the strategy, right? And then ultimately, we just work with them towards that. So our database is going to be full of, I have 6 people who are going to transact in this month, 7 the next month, 8 the following month, 12 the next month, because we just know what people are doing and they're on their way to that. And I'll show you how we do it.
Ryan, I think the avatar for that type of potential lead is someone who already owns a house, and they locked in a loan at 2.75 or something, and then they're kind of want to move, but they feel like their payment's going to double and it's not worth it. And so, and I get that that's really what's limiting our market right now, is that character, that lead number three. And I think if we can show them how rates are going to come down, and to understand that when, at which point, you know, will it make sense for you financially to level up? I think that is a meeting we could be having 10 of these a week,
100%. And that's, again, that's the proactive nature of this, right? If we tell a homeowner that this is a service that we not only provide, but highly recommend for them, right? Is we call it a financial transition planning, right? Is that I don't care if you sell your house today, a month from now, 2 years from now, or never, right? Like, you should understand what the transition from this home today would look like to another home, just so you have that knowledge, right? And we can sit down and we can walk them through the numbers. Like, hey, if you sold your 2.5% interest rate property and made this level of revenue, or this level of proceeds from the sale, this is how we can utilize it from a retirement perspective. This is how we can utilize it from a debt perspective. This is how we can utilize it from an asset perspective. This is the new home that you could acquire. This is the area, move up, down, out of the area. And this would be the potential new payment. And it looks like it would make sense around 5.5%, which will probably be here before you know it. And so when rates are approaching that, if that's something you want to do, we should start to kind of plan for it today, right? And just be ready for that, because as rates start to move down into the fives again, and potentially below, you're going to have everybody flooding the market, right? And you just want to be prepared to be on the cutting edge. That way you can, get your home in the market, have a ton of people write, and then, go buy that new home before you get 50 offers on that, because that's exactly what's going to happen when rates come down. This is the type of consultation we should be giving to people. And, we have the ability to do that. We do it every day, right? The consumer doesn't know we do it. Like, ask any of your clients, hey, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, but you're not sure, what do you do? No one will ever say, I call my lender. No one will ever say, I call my realtor. They only do those things when they've already made the decision, right? Because they don't know that's what we do until now.
It would be a great proactive campaign for the clients that you've helped buy in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, just to say, hey, if you feel like you're going to need to move in the next year or two, you've got the third kid came in, or the job changed, or you're going to need to move, but you're feeling like you're too well situated with your existing mortgage. Let's start imagining what kind of mortgage, or what will it look like to move to the next house. And maybe it won't happen for a year or two. There's got to be a huge market of interest for people that would say, yeah, what would it look like for me to have the bigger yard or the fourth bedroom?
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want to pay $2,500 a month more for a fourth bedroom.
Yep.
But at what threshold does it begin to make sense?
Yeah.
People don't know. They don't
Yeah,
know what they're waiting for.
Yeah, we can solve that problem. And like, here's how, right? Is it a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not planning on doing anything or nothing in the near future. So how do you engage with that person? Like, that person's not going to give you their name, their phone number, their email for us to spam them for the next 10 years, right? They don't need us right now. So they don't want to engage. So what we need to think when someone says that, and we need to trigger the term adopt. Because, and I'll show you how important this is moving forward. But if we can adopt clients, right, and create them as our own, even though we didn't help them with their previous transaction, we can offer them more value than anyone in their life in all aspects of real estate or finance, right? And then we get to work with all these people on their future plans and what they're doing. And I'll show you how we're doing this, right? And you all can obviously be a part of it. Is that there's something called transaction interaction frequency spectrum. If you look on the far left, you'll see things you use daily, weekly, monthly, and then you got the quarterly and yearly things you're buying, rental cars, taking flights. We've moved to the forgettable zone in a pretty massive way, right? It's 7 to 10 years now that people will transact in real estate, mortgage or finance. And the only person who's probably worse than that is the mortician. And it's going to be nearly impossible for us to stay in front of clients in a meaningful way to get their business every 7 to 10 years, right? For the past 15, 13 years or so, people have transacted much more frequently, right? Because home prices going up and they want to move up and they sell, but those transactions have stopped. And I think that'll be that way for the foreseeable future, unless we just get massive amount of more homes being built and rates coming down. But we can move as real estate and mortgage professionals, we can move into the habit zone, right? Where people are using our services and counting on us daily, weekly, and monthly. And this is one of the ways we do it, right? So our clients are utilizing our services on a consistent basis, right? Because they're logging in to their, we call it the Neo Experience platform. And they're looking at their net worth, they're looking at their home value, they're doing all the stuff, and they see us, and it's our service we're providing. Right? And our real estate agents benefit with us because they're a part of the team. So people you can see here are setting objectives. They want to buy a home, they want to buy a car, they want to start saving. And we can see on the back end of this platform all of the clients that have these goals, and we can see what percentage of the way they are to that goal, which helps us, again, proactively work with them. You can see the mortgage readiness here in the middle, right? Where all of our clients will walk around with their credit attached to this, with their income attached to this, and with their assets attached to this. And all of that will be updated on a monthly basis, which means that your client could go buy a home any day of the week. And they know that, right? They have a loaded gun. And they don't have to worry about, oh man, if I want to buy a house, I got to go through the whole mortgage process. I got to get pre-approved. Like, they're constantly approved on an ongoing basis. And you can know that, and we can know that, right? So we can have them in a much better mentality on how they can attack the market. They can check their credit on a daily basis and see what happens if I open an account, what happens if I close an account, what happens if I pay down a credit card. They can see immediately the impact it'll have in their credit score. So they can kind of gamify it. They're managing their budget through the app consistently. You get to use their home concierge service that we provide to them through their app, right? So we collectively, you and us as a team, we're sending them maintenance reminders, right? Home improvement information. We store all their documentation, home warranty, insurance, closing disclosure, all the stuff that they need and want. We'll give them appliance recalls. All the service providers that you and I, trust and James trust in the market are going to be loaded into that system. They have home inventory to help them against insurance services, all through their phone, and is, again, consistently utilized. On a monthly basis, they get real estate wealth digest about them, right? Not about us. All the things you've seen me market to them has nothing to do with me, right? It has nothing to do with me as an agent or as a mortgage professional. It has to do with helping them, right? Oh, I can buy an investment property for $445,000. How's that? And then they watch a video of us telling them how they can do that. They can click on a button, call us immediately. And we can also see what they're clicking on, right? So we can, have really good proactive data on what our clients are thinking, what they're looking at from afar. So when we're having our conversations, we can start to push them in the direction of goal setting, right? Push them in the direction of improving their life in ways that they wouldn't without us. And this is the data that, we have access to that is just incredibly important, right? We know when someone lists their home, right? And hopefully we won't get those, but sometimes it happens. We get notified when someone's married, when they have a kid, when they get divorced, when there's a death or empty nest. When rates improve, we can immediately make sure they're always in the right mortgage at the right time. When equity increases, so we can let them know what they can do. We call it equity analysis planning, right? You have more equity in your home than you could ever probably have in the bank. Let's figure out how to utilize that. Reverse mortgage information, mortgage increase, credit improvements. This is stuff that turns a database into a data bank, right? So this is, you have to ask yourself, how much is your data bank worth? Let's say you have 100 people in it. Well, on average, 10% are going to move or do something every year, which means that you'll get 10 transactions if you're hyper connected to that database. If not, you may get 0, right? And those 10 people may, do that without you. But what if you had 1,000 in there? What if you had 10,000 in there? And most people think, well, I'm not going to have that many clients because I don't do that many transactions per year. This is the interesting thing. Everything I just showed you, all the, the app and the home concierge and the analyses set every month and the, perfect mortgage, all that information, we can give that to anyone on the planet. And we can show them more value than any realtor's ever shown them, right? More value than any lender's ever shown them. So they'll see our proactive value, right? Our client success team will connect with them and help them set goals, and we'll never be surprised by what they want to do. So you could go adopt 100 people this month, right? Think about it, right? You have 5 conversations a day. There's 30 days in a month. That's 150 people. If you adopt 66% of those people because you show them what we're doing and they go, oh yeah, I'd love that. That'd be great. If that's the case, then now it's 100 more people that you can add your database on a monthly basis. So right now, I think a lot of your databases, and most people's databases look like this, right? It's just, there's people in there, you just don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what they're doing. And you're trying to stay in front of them with whatever marketing that we collectively have. So when they decide, you're the person they call. We got to change that because our competitors, the Rockets and the Zillows of the world look like this, right? They kind of know what's happening. They use data really well. They know a lot about what's happening. And this is not just for their clients. This is for your clients. Like, they have your databases. They have our databases, right? They use data way better than we do. But with our system, right, and with your cooperation as partners, this is what our data banks look like. Right? We know everything that's happening with every client. We know what they're looking at. Our client success manager help setting their goals. And people will start talking about real estate and mortgage professionals very differently. Like, man, I've used realtors for 20 years, but I just met this new realtor and they're like so proactive with our help and advice and guidance. Like, they're helping us set goals that we just wouldn't have set, right? And they're helping us accomplish goals that we would have never accomplished. And they're doing it with all these technology and tools and teammates, and they have a financing team that's been amazing. Like, this is the future, not only what we can do, but most importantly, what we should do. So I will stop sharing right now. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Did it stop the share?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that. I think the last piece about using data in a way, like, we as an enterprise at Neo Home Loans are trying to catch up and match that type of data monitoring and management. We can roll. I mean, we're doing that to all of the people that we have put onto our platform, which is all of our current clients and people we've helped in the past. But we can. I've got some financial advisors that I partner with that have put their client lists into this platform as well to kind of just help them manage understanding when their clients are about to make a real estate transaction. A lot of times a financial advisor is the last person to know, and it's really valuable for them to know at least 30 days before they close, instead of getting the call 2 days before, hey, I need $250,000 to buy this beach house. Oh, you want to talk about it? No, it's closing in 3 days and I need the money tomorrow. Like, we need to kind of get in front of that for financial planners, but also for our real estate partners as well, that to have this information of, wow, did you know that this person has enough equity they can drop their MI? Do you want to give them a call, or you want me to give them a call? Like, we have ways to pluck out moments in their lives that are relevant for us to be interacting with them, and not just a way that's like, hey, here's all the cool, like, spring fling events, in our community, like with, the hit machine is playing at the Wilsonville Park next month or whatever. It's like, no, hey, I heard you had a baby. Congratulations, wish you the best. Like, that's like, there's real life events that move the needle with our relationship, but also are relevant to changing their real estate behavior as well. So we're doing that now, and we offer that to our real estate partners. I don't think I probably need to do a better job of making that clear, how we're able to do that. All we need is a spreadsheet of first name, last name, property address,
Email,
contact
phone.
information, I guess, and then
Yep.
and then it's tracking behind the scenes. They don't receive it; they're not getting spammed or anything, but we will be notified whenever one of those life events is triggered, and we'll share that information with you, and it's super valuable.
Yeah. Well, team, thank you for having me on. James, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thanks for making time, Ryan. I appreciate it. I love this message. And
yeah,
we got some good commentary in the Q&A. Oh, I got one more. Thanks, Kat. Great content, great reminders. Yeah, it is about the passion. It's about the belief That's it's easy to get beat down by connecting with the energy of the people we interact with at open houses or whatever. You can't, but if you can summon the idea that, yeah, it seems scary to buy right now, but I mean, is our message just going to be even scarier in 3 years when you're competing with hedge funds? Or I think we need to get as many people involved in real estate in a safe and thoughtful way as we possibly can. And yeah, that just being able to bring that energy, a different type of energy and a different type of value, which is not contingent on their needing to buy or sell right now or get a loan right now. It's just
Right.
about how are you accessing the information that's relevant to you right now.
I
Right.
think a lot of people, James, they hear this and they go, well, that's great, but I need transactions today, right? Like I need to feed my family. I need to find people who want to buy or sell right now. And I promise you, you'll find more of those people with this strategy than you ever would trying to find the needles in the haystack today. Because what I said is we're going to create a new demand. Like if we start talking to people in the way that I just mentioned, we're going to uncover so many people who should sell their home, right? We're going to uncover so many people who must buy a home, not can buy a home. Right? And those will turn into transactions much faster than just trying to be around people when they make the decision, right? And competing with lenders and realtors who are willing to do it for less and less and less, because that's the direction we're headed, right? If you convince someone that they should buy or sell a home because if you've educated them and you've shown them how important it is and you show them the opportunity, there's no shopping at that point, right? Like they wouldn't be doing any of this without you anyways.
It's a partnership. You're
100%.
inviting them to create a partnership. Carrie, thank you for the comments. Yeah, this is what we're doing, and partnering with obviously with Neo Home Loans is a way to really advance your own business down this exact path. And that's really what our vision is we can't do it without you, right? We can't do this without, and once this unlocks and we understand, oh, we're having this type of conversation now, not like here's your pre-approved, here's your qualifying. Then it's like, okay, well, what other professionals can we bring this to get into their networks? That's something that a mentor of mine calls the circle of cash flow, right? Like everyone we know either has an accountant or a financial advisor or a banker, or they run a company or they're involved in HR. Like they can unlock huge groups of people that we can spread this into, and it just totally changes the momentum. Like you said, that's where that's where I want to do business right now will come from just getting into that energy. Sorry, I got distracted. Someone just asked if we're currently hiring MLOs in Pennsylvania. Rota, we'll talk. I'll email you afterwards.
Yeah. Well, team, I gotta run. I got to do another presentation in 5 minutes. But James, again, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I'll send you the PowerPoint slides so you can send them to
yeah, I'll do that. I've got this recorded as well, so I'll distribute this.
Yeah.
Again, thanks for everyone who jumped in. Thanks for everyone who listened and participated. And of course, Ryan, thank you. And we'll talk to you real soon.
Thanks, y'all.